Okay, welcome, Brad. It's so wonderful to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and share tapping with us. We're really excited. I'm really excited. So thank you for taking this time.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm happy to be here with you.
Awesome. So I thought maybe we'd just start with some Q&A so people understand what EFT is, EFT tapping. People understand, like some people are like, what is that? Is it EFT? Is it tapping? It's the same thing. But do you want to just share a little bit about it for people that aren't familiar, and the ones that are familiar, just stay with us because we're going to do some tapping, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of us just call it tapping at this point, but it's based on a process called emotional freedom techniques, or EFT, which was based on a process called thought field therapy, or TFT, and which was based on acupuncture. So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they have said there's a flow of energy through the body along these pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy is flowing naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well-being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck, we don't feel so good, and we don't think as clearly, and we don't make the best choices. And that has some unfortunate consequences in our lives. So this process helps us to feel better. In traditional Chinese medicine, the doctor would stick needles in these key points along these meridians to stimulate that healthy flow of energy. And we're just tapping with our fingertips, which is why we call it tapping. And if you are new to this, I understand that it might look a little strange at first, but it's really worth it. It is a tremendous benefit, primarily in terms of stress relief. In EFT, there's an expression, try it on everything, because we found that tapping is so beneficial with so many issues. And if you thought of tapping as nothing more than a stress relief technique, then you would understand that because most, if not all, of the issues that we deal with physically and emotionally are either caused by or worsened by stress.
Mm.
So if you have a simple technique for lowering the stress response, then it makes sense why it's so beneficial in so many areas. And we have research, a growing body of research validating the tapping. We have studies with cortisol, where cortisol is one of the stress hormones. So a group of participants had their cortisol levels measured, and then with different control groups, uh, some doing tapping, some doing breathing exercises, some doing nothing. And the group that did the tapping, their cortisol levels dropped by such a dramatic rate, an average of 24%, some as much as 50%, that the lab technicians actually threw out the first batch of results, thinking that something had to have gone wrong because it couldn't have been that effective.
Mm.
And it was. and that those studies have been replicated now to show the same kind of powerful results. fMRI studies, where you can see the brain activity, where the parts of the brain are lit up, and then after tapping, where those parts of the brain are now normalized.
Wow.
So yeah, even though it looks a little strange,
Yeah, right.
yes, we do have scientific evidence saying, yes, it is a very effective technique for clearing out stress and other uncomfortable emotions.
Beautiful. And that research is so powerful for those of us that are very logical, left-brained. We like the science behind things. But there's nothing like experiencing it firsthand and having the evidence for yourself and going, oh, I actually have just hadn't experienced a noticeable shift to really have you buy into, want to use it when you're in stress state, to think it's worth my time to stop. Right. And to actually apply this technique in this moment.
Right, because there's plenty of good things out there that we have plenty of evidence and people still don't use them. So it's when you have that that experience of, oh, that feels good, then you're definitely more likely to use it for your benefit.
So true. And I don't know about you, but I've found with people that I've had in coaching and programs that when they have heard of it and they've maybe tried it out, but they haven't stuck with it, it's interesting. Usually there's perhaps a lack of understanding about what is actually happening inside the body when you actually do the tapping, and how it's actually signaling in your brain and your body and creating a change in your physiology. But also, would you talk a little bit about how it makes it different for the coming moments? Because we can tap on stress, but then we're stressed another 5 minutes later. So we tap again and okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to be stressed because I've got to deal with my, whoever, angry boss or whoever it is. And you just, what do I just have to tap 24/7? That's not the case, is it? Because you're actually creating a rewiring shift within you.
Certainly, we are changing our mind about certain things so that something that causes us a lot of stress right now, as we do the tapping and address that issue and look at it in a different way, we're not going to respond in the same way to that. Now, life is going to continue to have stressful things that show up. It's not like, well, we're going to tap really well once and then we'll never feel any stress again. To me, it's energy hygiene. So I recommend it on a daily basis, just like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. None of us can take a shower that's so good that we'll never have to take another shower again. And most of us do it as a maintenance thing. We don't wait until we need it. We don't wait until people are holding their nose around us and we go, oh, I should brush my teeth. It's been about a week now.
It's a really great analogy. Yeah, it's so right. I love what you said. It's energy hygiene, right? I definitely, I remember when I was using it, when I first came across it, and I felt like I was just tapping 24/7 on everything because I had so much buildup of stuff over time. And now it'll just be like you're saying, just a little bit of tapping to set me up for the day, or at the end of the day, just before I go to sleep, to just be in a calm state. Yeah. Would you mind?
Because there are certain events that we have a stressful response to, that as we change our mind about it, those kinds of things won't do it the same. But like you were saying, it's like, well, I'm tapping on my stress now, but I'm going to feel stressed tomorrow. But we never say, look, my teeth are dirty, but they're going to be dirty again tomorrow, so why bother brushing them?
Right. And you want, like all people want in life, is to feel good. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what goal they have, doesn't matter how much money they want, doesn't matter how many relationships they want, we just want to feel good. And,
right. All of those things
makes you feel good, right?
Yeah. And this is a great way to do it, because feeling good is our natural state. And it gets covered up by all these other little things like stress and anger and fear and doubt and sadness and guilt and shame and all these uncomfortable feelings. And as we allow ourselves to alleviate those things, and it's not a matter of negative emotions. I don't believe there are any negative emotions. Every emotion has its place as part of the human experience. But there are uncomfortable emotions, and we want to process them as quickly as possible. It's like, okay, I've got that warning. Like to me, anger is like a smoke detector. We want it to go off to let us know that there's a problem, but then we want it to go off to the sound to stop when we deal with the problem. We put the fire out, or we recognize that the batteries need to be changed, or whatever it might be, because sometimes it's a misunderstanding. But we want to get through that awful noise as soon as possible. So same with these emotions. It's not a matter of, oh, get rid of that bad feeling. It's, I want to process this and find out why it's there. What do I need to do? What changes do I need to make in my life so that I'm not just getting rid of an uncomfortable feeling? My life is actually getting better. I'm improving as a person. I'm making things better in my life. And I'm taking that uncomfortable feeling that I had to find ways to make things better. But I want to process that as quickly as possible.
Beautiful. That's really saying that this is you're actually investing in your happiness and your wellness and your progress, whatever progress you want in your life. Every moment you tap, it's actually investing in yourself. And also, loved what you said about no bad emotions. We're human. We have all these emotions for a reason. Embrace our humanity. It's uncomfortable, but I think there's a lot of people have fear of their own fear, or wronging themselves for feeling anxiety. It's like, welcome to being human. There's nothing wrong with you. And what I love about your work is you just said, like, we have all these things that cover up our natural state. Yes, it's like underneath the feelings, you are you, and you've not gone anywhere. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just having, and for some people, very intense and very long running build up of emotions. Would you talk about your Michelangelo?
I wish.
Because I really love it. I think it demonstrates perfectly for people what we're talking about.
Just as you said that, Bert, I'm started reaching for my little David. And people can see it in the back. I have Davids on all four walls, because it was always my favorite piece of art. But as I got into this work, it also hit me that it's just a perfect analogy, because Michelangelo said, the statue is already there, perfect, underneath the marble. I just have to chip away what doesn't belong to reveal the masterpiece inside. So that's exactly what you were just saying, is that our best self is already there inside us, underneath all this excess marble that is made up of guilt and shame and doubt and fear and all these different feelings and misunderstandings. We've picked up a lot of misunderstandings throughout the years. The biggest one for most people is the idea of I'm not good enough.
Yes.
Total misunderstanding. You're absolutely good enough. The universe tells you in every single moment, people say, I'm not worthy of good things. Are you breathing right now?
Right.
The universe is letting you know in every moment that you're worthy of that oxygen.
Yeah, your heart is beating. Something finds you worthy enough to have your heart beat.
Yeah.
To have your life supported. That's so powerful, and I'm all about it, because like you're talking about, we accumulate so much baggage, and there's a huge amount of relief for people in understanding that the beautiful, pure being that was born is still who you are, but we pick up so much stuff that does not belong to us. And to be fair, by the time we become adults, we've picked up so much stuff unconsciously along the way where we didn't really have an awareness, or we weren't old enough to know how to. Nobody gave me a book in school when I was 5 saying anything about this kind of stuff.
Right. Well, as little children, we're watching our parents and we're going, okay, so that's walking. Okay, I'll do that. And that noise, that's talking. Okay, I'll do that. And these arguments about money and beliefs that money is bad. Yeah, I think I'll skip that one.
Right. Yeah. No discernment. No discernment.
Just
yeah.
Take it all in.
Take it all in. So powerful. So can you also talk a little bit about what things we can use it for? Because the obvious thing is we're going to be doing it with our emotions. So I have a difficult emotion, but also we can tap on positive things we want. We can tap on our limiting beliefs, our negative thoughts, our difficult feelings, like pretty much everything you could want to.
It would take less time to talk about what it can't be beneficial.
It's easier, right?
That's why the expression, try it on everything. Because with all of the things that we want to change in our lives, the things that we want to make better, in most, if not all cases, we are the barrier to that. Our beliefs about what's possible, our beliefs about what we can do, what we should have, things like that. And we stop ourselves. And not because we're bad or stupid or weak or lazy. I always say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love.
Yeah.
When we stop ourselves, it's because our beliefs say, I need to stop myself. It's not safe for me to be happier. It's not safe for me to make more money. It's not safe for me to get into a relationship. It's not safe for me to be healthier. Whatever those changes that we say we'd like to have, part of it says, oh, no, that's great. You can fantasize about that all you want. You can make vision boards and all that stuff. We're just going to make sure it never happens because it wouldn't be safe. And I'm going to protect you from your unbridled desires that would just get us into all kinds of trouble and danger.
Yeah. And I think if people can really take on board what you've just said and maybe have a self-reflection moment after this session about what do I actually want in my life? And is there any part of me at any level that thinks if I got that, it might be a bit uncomfortable? Because that lack of safety, perceived lack of safety in your outcomes is such a huge barrier for people. And like you said, self-sabotage is just self-protection. It's just the part, like our brains and bodies are so smart. It's just like they're doing their job. We're just going to keep you the heck away from anything that could potentially, success, being seen, possible rejection, possible judgment, possible whatever, no thanks, right? Yeah. And it's like there's not this horrible part of yourself that's wrong and bad. It's just like this loving part of yourself trying to do its, primitive job to keep you safe.
It's this brilliant part of us. It's like I sometimes talk about like a chess grandmaster who's thinking 50 moves ahead. So, but is dealing with all kinds of old misinformation.
Yeah.
So, we might be saying, oh, I'd like to be in a relationship. And we're in the grocery store and we see this attractive stranger over there. And even before we're consciously aware of that person, this grand master is sitting there and thinking all these different moves. It's like, I could go over and I could say hi, and that person might say hi back to me, and we might start up a conversation, and we might say, hey, let's get together, and we go out on a date, and that goes to another date. And 3 years later, they break my heart like the last person did. Oh, look, there's a sale in aisle 2, and we're off, even before we're consciously aware of that person. It's brilliant. We're too smart for our own good, based on this old stuff about relationships always lead to pain, whether it's the relationships I've had or seeing my parents' relationship or whatever it is. So I'm just sitting there thinking, I need to protect myself from getting into that dangerous situation.
So powerful. And you can apply that example to money, to anything at all. I mean, I've seen people say, I want to have more money. And then they're just like, people with money are rude and they're selfish. And it's like, a part of you is going to be like, I don't want to be like that. So
exactly.
Rejection of what you want. You can apply it to any area of life. But this is such a powerful lead-in, because when you look at tapping, the tapping can help you to release the emotions around it, start to rewire your thinking about it, start to make your nervous system calm into relaxation response. There's so many powerful parts of it. And I often say to people, if there is one technique, and I've got lots of different techniques I use. I'm trained in Psych K, I do energy healing, all sorts of things, emotion code, body code, tapping. But tapping is true, pure, powerful self-help. Because as long as you got some fingers, and you can
literally at your fingertips,
right? I mean, I say to people, and I've done it myself, you're stressed at work, you go close the bathroom door, put the toilet seat down, sit on that toilet and silently start tapping. And you can create a powerful shift for yourself without anyone knowing or anyone seeing. Even if you're in a meeting sitting right here, I had a client say to me the other day, I'm nervous and I'm tapping under the table on my hand right now. So with all that said, should we dive in? Do you want to describe the process and then we can pick a topic and we'll start doing some tapping? Everyone's going to tap with us. Brad's going to lead it. I'm going to respond as an audience member. Everyone respond with me, and we're going to do it and experience some beautiful shifts.
Absolutely. Even just a moment ago when you were saying, yeah, that's something that people can reflect on later. And I'm thinking, no, Bernadette, we're not going to wait till later. They're going to tap on it now.
Oh, the iron's hot. I love it. Okay, very good.
So real quickly, I'm going to show folks the basic of EFT. Because once I get into it and I start, it's an intuitive process for me, and I download information saying a lot of different things. It's a very exploratory process, looking at what might be going on. So I'll be randomly saying different things. And if it's the first time you've seen EFT, you might say, wow, that's really complicated. You have to come up with all these words. Like, no, just like what you were just saying, Bernadette, about it's such a simple process. And if you're feeling stress, you can just start tapping without saying any words, and it will already start to calm down that stress response in your body. So unlike a lot of techniques, and these are all brilliant techniques that you've mentioned, but they may take a little bit more thought. You have to be, going through certain processes and this and then that. And when you're in a stressed state of mind, kind of hard to do that.
Agreed.
So, there are all kinds of great things for lowering stress in your life. Like, make sure you get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy diet, go for long walks. But if you're in a moment where you're on a phone call, like you said, with somebody who stresses you out, you can't get a better night's sleep last night. You can't have a better meal earlier. You can't go for a walk right in that moment, but you can start tapping.
Yeah.
So the very basic of EFT is you would take whatever was troubling you at that moment. So let's say what's causing you stress is Bob has done something really stupid and it's really upset you. So you're feeling all this anger at Bob. And if your name's Bob, I'm sorry, it's not personal. So we would first we'd say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong is that? Well, he was really a jerk. It's about an 8. And then I'd look at where in my body I might feel it. So it might be, oh, I feel tension in my shoulders. So I would start by tapping on the side of my hand. And so just for the sake of demonstration, we'll use your dominant hand, fingertips of your index and middle finger. right there on the side of your hand. You can tap with either hand on either side, and the meridians run up and down both sides of the body. So you can tap with both sides, switch back and forth, find out whatever's most comfortable for you. So on the side of the hand, we would say, even though I'm angry at Bob, I choose to love and accept myself. So it's just a statement of acceptance, even though we're facing this issue. So rather than beating ourselves up like we so often do when we're feeling an uncomfortable feeling, or we're not doing what we think we should be doing, we're stating a level of love and acceptance.
Mm.
So we'd repeat that 3 times. Even though I have this anger at Bob, I choose to love and accept myself. Then we tap right here at the beginning of your eyebrow and say, all this anger at Bob. We tap about 5 to 10. If we're saying a longer phrase, it might be more tapping, and that's okay. It's not like it has to be just between 5 and 10 times. Next is the right here at the side of the eye, corner of your eye socket, all this anger at Bob. Right under the middle of your eye, all this anger at Bob. Right under your nose, all this anger at Bob. Right under your lower lip, all this anger at Bob. Right here where your collarbones just about come together, there's a little U shape at the base of your throat, and you can tap with all your fingertips or even make a fist, all this anger at Bob. Next point is about 4 inches below your armpit. It's right about bra strap level, and I'm sure even the guys can figure out where that one is. All this anger at Bob. And finally, the crown of your head. So just using all of your fingertips, just tapping around the top of your head, all this anger at Bob. And take a deep breath. And then you check in again and see how angry you still feel. For some people, it'll go from an 8 to a 0 like that. It usually doesn't happen quite that fast, but it often does. It may go from an 8 to a 7.75. But if you've been angry at Bob at an 8 for a long time, 7.75 will feel better. Mm-hmm. And it also happens that, and then you can go back through the process again and say, even though I still have some anger at Bob, I choose to love and accept myself. This remaining anger. And you go through that as many times until you feel enough relief. If we can get to 0, awesome. And when we're tapping, it's often like peeling the layers of an onion, and we become aware of things that we hadn't been consciously aware of before. Mm. So I might be tapping going, all this anger at Bob, all this anger at, oh, it's not even Bob, it's Sally. In the 3rd grade, she took my toy away, and what Bob did reminded me of that. Oh, all this anger at Sally. And now I have a chance to clear up a resentment that I've been holding on to for decades and that has in subtle ways been running my life. Yeah. Because I could go back and probably trace different decisions I've made in my life that have compromised what was possible because of decisions that I made about what Sally did in the 3rd grade. Not some bad or stupid, but we're just doing the best we can. And we make so many of these decisions at a young age when we don't have critical thinking. You know, our lives are being run by a 6-year-old for the most part.
Right, we're walking around in adult bodies with children running our lives, the child inside. And I think what you're describing here, this perfect example of I'm angry at Bob, but actually halfway through my tapping, I realize I'm really, really angry at some other person from some long time ago. I just saw that in the last few days with a client, seen it so many times where you're tapping on something that's just been going on, and actually immediately 2.5 years ago, this happened, and this is how I felt, and it's something completely different. The body and brain is so smart at bringing up, hey, this is a small trauma or a big trauma from some time in your life that you are carrying that is burdening you, and you might not even realize it. And I think that's another one of the reasons I love tapping is it will bring up, people say, why would I want to bring that stuff up? Because it is actually affecting you whether you realize it or not. So you're better to see it and get rid of that stuff.
Right. And you might even find yourself being really grateful to Bob for pissing you off because he's just helped you discover this resentment towards Sally that's been running your life for decades. And it's like, oh, thank you, Bob, because my life is going to be so much better now that I had to tap on you being a jerk.
Yeah. And what's coming up is this sense that our body is just collecting and keeping the score on and accumulating everything. And that the beauty of when you start tapping is that you get to clear the past baggage, but then you get to move forward with a tool that will keep you clean and clear as you go forward in daily life. Super awesome. Okay, I love it. So let's do some guided tapping. It's like, I'm so feeling joyous and grateful to be in your presence, because you're a real master at this, and to get to tap with you. So let's talk about...
I'm really enjoying hearing you say things like that. So
soak up the goodness, soak up the love. We're in a slightly chaotic times in the world, and people are, I think everybody can point to something in their life, in their own personal life, that has changed, or is, something they're having to deal with that's unexpected, things they can't control. And then on a collective level, there's a lot going on as well. So let's do some guided tapping. I'll leave it to you to take us through what you think might be relevant for people at this time.
Yeah. So what I ask everyone to do is go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now, just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed, go ahead and maybe feel your feet on the floor, your butt in the chair, whatever part of you is connected to something. Allow yourself to feel that connection. Allow yourself to feel centered and grounded. Allowing yourself to be right here, right now, as present as possible, so as to receive maximum benefit from this process. And just allow yourself to be aware of any discomfort you're feeling in your body, particularly around current events or the events over the last several months. The frustration you might feel, the fear, the grief over things that you've lost, whether it's having lost loved ones or having lost opportunities, lost money. All of us have experienced some level of loss. Even it's just losing the sense of normalcy. Just being able to go eat at a restaurant around other people. So allowing yourself to be aware of that sense of loss or fear, whatever discomfort you're feeling about things that are going on. It might be around the pandemic. It might be around politics. It could be around all kinds of different things. Just allow yourself to be aware of those things that are causing you discomfort and stress. Notice where in your body you might feel it. Notice on a scale of 0 to 10 how intense those feelings might be. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, and memories might come up that contribute to that discomfort. Just allow yourself to be aware of what's there. Take a deep breath, open your eyes. And just tap where I tap and repeat back what I say along with Bernadette. Even though stuff is bothering me.
Even though the stuff is bothering me.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
Even though stuff is bothering me.
Even though the stuff is bothering me.
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
I choose to love and honor myself anyway.
Even though stuff is bothering me.
Even though the stuff is bothering me.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Because there is a lot of stuff going on.
And a lot of it is really challenging.
And a lot of it is really challenging.
And I've been putting up with it for a long time.
And I have been putting up with that for a long time.
And it's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
It's upsetting.
It's upsetting.
And it's exhausting.
And it is exhausting.
And even though there's stuff that's bothering me.
And even though there's stuff that's bothering me.
I choose to deeply and completely.
I choose to deeply and completely.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
Love, honor, and accept myself.
And maybe anyone else involved in this.
And maybe anyone else involved in this.
Because I choose to be that free.
Because I choose to be that free.
All this stuff that's bothering me.
All this stuff that's bothering me.
All this stuff going on.
All this stuff going on.
There is a lot of crap going on.
There is a lot of crap going on.
And it has been going on for a long time.
And it has been going on for a long time.
And I am exhausted.
And I am exhausted.
And I don't see the end coming anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't see the end coming anytime soon.
So that's just one more thing to be frustrated about.
It's just one more thing to feel frustrated about.
I'm bothered about all this stuff that's going on.
I'm so bothered about all the stuff that's going on.
And I'm bothered that I don't see the end in sight.
And I'm bothered that I don't see the end in sight.
And all this being bothered
And all this being bothered
is taking a toll on me.
It's taking a toll on me.
It takes a toll on me physically.
It takes a toll on me physically.
It takes a toll on me emotionally.
It takes a toll on me emotionally.
And I'm really uncomfortable.
And I'm really uncomfortable.
And I'd like to relax a little bit.
And I'd really like to relax a little bit.
I'd like to give myself permission.
I'd like to give myself permission
to take a bit of a break.
To take a bit of a break.
To feel some peace.
To feel some peace.
And then part of me says,
And then part of me says,
are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Did you read the news today?
Did you read the news today?
How on earth could you possibly feel any peace right now?
How on earth could I possibly feel any peace right now?
It's my duty to be upset.
It's my duty to be upset.
I am obliged to be bothered.
I am obliged to be bothered.
And if I weren't bothered,
And if I weren't bothered,
people would think I was nuts.
People would think I'm nuts.
They would say, you should be upset.
They would say, you should be upset.
You should be stressed out.
You should be stressed out.
And so I do my duty.
And so I do my duty.
And I get all stressed out.
And I get all stressed out.
And I'm allowing myself to reconsider this.
I'm allowing myself to reconsider this.
Why should I be upset?
Why should I be upset?
Why should I feel this stress?
Why should I feel this stress?
Because I've been feeling stressed for some time.
Because I've been feeling stressed for some time.
And it hasn't improved anything.
And it definitely has not improved anything.
I cannot stress the coronavirus away.
Yeah, I cannot stress the coronavirus away.
I cannot stress people into behaving better.
Yeah, I cannot stress people into behaving better.
So when people say I should be stressed out.
So when people say I should be stressed out.
I choose to say, why?
I choose to say, why?
What good is that going to do?
What good is that going to do?
There are definitely things I should be doing.
There are definitely things I should be doing.
There are actions that I can take.
There are actions I can take.
That can make my life better.
That can make my life better.
And improve things for other people.
And improve things for other people.
And I could do a whole lot more of that.
And I can do a whole lot more of that.
If I wasn't so distracted by all this stress.
If I wasn't so distracted by all this stress.
The stress is actually limiting the good that I can do.
The stress is definitely limiting the good that I can do.
Part of me says I need it to motivate me.
Part of me says that I need it to motivate me.
I'm going to get really good and upset.
I'm going to get really good and upset.
And that's going to drive me to do great things.
And that's going to drive me to do great things.
I must be motivated by misery.
I must be motivated by misery.
Am I doing all I could do yet?
Am I doing all I could do yet?
If not, I guess I need to be more miserable first.
If not, I guess I need to be more miserable.
Better read some more news.
Better read some more news.
Get myself even more upset.
Get myself even more upset.
Then you're going to see me do some things.
Then you're really going to see me do some things.
And I choose to clear all of this.
I choose to clear all of this.
Because there's a part of me.
Because there's a part of me.
That really wants to do all the good I can do.
That really does want to do all the good that I can do.
And doesn't need to be motivated by misery.
And doesn't need to be motivated by misery.
I just need the freedom to do it.
I just need the freedom to do it.
And I have resistance.
And I have resistance.
All this resistance to feeling better.
All this resistance to feeling better.
All this resistance to taking more action.
All this resistance to taking more action.
And it's not because I'm bad or stupid.
And it's not because I'm bad or stupid.
It's just that I have old beliefs.
It's just that I have old beliefs.
About why I couldn't or shouldn't take action.
About why I couldn't or shouldn't take action.
About why I couldn't or shouldn't make changes.
About why I couldn't or shouldn't make changes.
And so I stop myself.
And so I stop myself.
And then part of me says.
And then part of me says.
If I get really upset.
I get really upset.
Then I'll push past my resistance.
Then I'll push past my resistance.
So I'm squeezing myself between a rock and a hard place.
So I'm squeezing myself between a rock and a hard place.
And I'm really tired of doing that.
And I'm really tired of doing that.
So I'm clearing this resistance.
So I'm clearing this resistance.
Setting myself free to take positive action.
Setting myself free to take positive action.
To do all those things that I can do.
To do all those things that I can do.
To make life better for myself and others.
To make life better for myself and others.
And as long as I'm taking that action.
And as long as I'm taking that action.
I don't need all of this stress to motivate me.
I don't need any of the stress to motivate me.
Because it's not solving anything.
It's not solving anything.
I'm allowing myself to feel more peace.
I'm allowing myself to feel more peace.
Especially because that helps me think better.
Especially because that helps me think better.
The more upset I am.
The more upset I am.
The more my prefrontal cortex goes offline.
The more my prefrontal cortex goes offline. Yeah.
My rational mind goes bye-bye.
My rational mind goes bye-bye.
So the actions that I do take.
So the actions I do take.
Usually aren't the best actions to take.
Usually aren't the best actions to take.
As I allow myself to relax.
Now I allow myself to relax.
And feel more peace.
And feel more peace.
I can think more clearly.
I can think more clearly.
And make better decisions.
And make better decisions.
And take better actions.
And take better actions.
I choose to do that.
I choose to do that.
There is a lot of crap going on.
There is a lot of crap going on.
What can I do about that?
What can I do about that?
And there's some things I can't do anything about.
And there are some things I can't do anything about.
So I'm not going to waste my time on those.
So I'm not going to waste my time on those.
I'm going to focus on the things I can do.
I'm going to focus on the things I can do.
The places where I can make a positive difference.
The places I can make a positive difference.
For myself and others.
For myself and others.
There's plenty for me to do.
There's plenty for me to do.
I don't have time to stress about that other stuff.
Well, I don't have time to stress about that other stuff.
And maybe if I do this.
Maybe if I do this.
All those other people that I've been afraid of.
All those other people I've been afraid of.
That will tell me I should be upset.
That tell me I should be upset.
Maybe they'll see what I'm up to.
Maybe they'll see what I'm up to.
And say, "Ooh, I'll have what you're having."
Yeah, and say, "Oh, I'll have what you're having."
And they'll let go of some of their stress.
They might let go of some of their stress.
And do more of the good that they can do.
And do more of the good they can do.
And what a wonderful world that'll be.
What a wonderful world that.
And I'm loving myself in this process.
And I'm loving myself in this process.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. Close your eyes and check in again with wherever in your body you might have been feeling that discomfort. And thinking again on a level of scale of 0 to 10, how strong that discomfort was, whether it was fear or a sense of loss or whatever it might have been. Just allow yourself to be aware of what might have shifted, what you might be thinking differently about, what layers of the onion might have gotten peeled, and you might be more aware of certain things that you could do more tapping on. And just allow yourself to be aware of how much more peace you might be allowing yourself. And allow yourself to be aware of the thoughts of ideas that might have come up about actions that you could take to make things better for yourself and others. And take another deep breath. And open your eyes. So that's one way of approaching it.
Super powerful. Like I was relatively calm and peaceful, but I could intellectually definitely connect with sense of loss about things this year, but also past things. But by the end, what I noticed is my breath. It's when you said take a deep breath at the end, my rib cage just expanded so much more. Like I could breathe so much more freely. Afterwards, like any kind of tightness we have in our chest and in our belly just kind of feels gone. Yeah,
that's where we often feel so much of our stress. So that we'll often do in groups a demonstration of the effectiveness of tapping simply by saying, all right, everybody, take a deep breath. Now rate that on a scale of 0 to 10 as to how full and deep a breath that was compared to what's possible. And then we'll go through a tapping round and then say, now take it as a deep breath again. And everyone's like, oh, because then you really have a noticeable effect of, oh, I can see that I have a lot less stress now. And people will do that and they're like, I have never breathed that deeply. because
Yeah.
they're walking around with all of this stress and all this constricted breathing.
Yeah. And I see sometimes, I'm a huge fan of diaphragmatic breathing, deep diaphragmatic breathing, and I use it in meditation with mantras and all sorts of things. But sometimes, let's be honest, you go to sit down, you go to do some deep diaphragmatic breathing, you go to do some meditation, and you're like, no matter how deep I breathe, I am like wound up and whereas tapping, your brain and your body just instantly start responding to it.
Yeah. It just starts relaxing that stress response and allowing ourselves to see things differently.
Yeah.
And look at, so I've been calling this the reconsideration process, because we have all these beliefs like, oh, it's my duty to be upset about what I see in the news.
Yeah.
Well, reconsider that because your being upset isn't going to change it. If you're reading the paper and about some politician and something they've done, you sitting at home getting all upset about it just has a negative effect on you.
Yeah.
It's just hurting you. That person is not aware. They're not going to be going, oh, Steve over in four states away is obviously feeling upset about something I did yesterday. I'm going to clean up my act.
I think in this current situation with everything that's going on in the world and what's going on in people's own personal lives that may have nothing to do with the global situation, or maybe it does and it's affected their business, their career, their family, health, grief, loss, all sorts of things. There's sort of like extreme ends, and I really feel like the extreme ends aren't serving. So the one extreme end is, like you said, it's my obligation to be angry about this, to be stressed about this, and we end up so deeply in it, we become completely, one, our health gets affected, and two, ineffective in activating, mobilizing any kind of change. The other end is I'm going to pretend it's not happening, and I'm just going to be like, everything is light and love.
Right.
And it's like, yes, there is light always. Yes, there is love always. However, you can't deny the facts of what people are going through, and nor would you want to, because it's a disconnected kind of sense. For me, I think the power is for us to stand in the face of it and be able to look directly at what's happening, but be able to do so with such a calm, peaceful, activated state where you can actually, that tapping was so beautiful about when I am calm, I make better choices and I can sense what I can actually do that is in my control to help my loved ones, to find work for myself, to take care of my finances, to mobilize in whatever areas are important to me, social justice, political, environment, whatever it might be. I feel like there's a middle way where we can be calm and we can really be a force for good.
Absolutely. And it's recognizing that we don't need to be motivated by misery. There is that part of us that, for me, I put out videos on YouTube constantly because I want to make as big a difference as I can.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from, I don't get up in the morning and read the news and get really upset about how awful the world is. Okay, now I'm motivated to go try to make a difference. It's just that I know things can be better, and I'm excited about what can be better for people. So being pulled towards something rather than pushed. And, you see the bumper stickers sometimes, or people out there saying, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so we just want a bunch of people outraged? Because when someone's outraged, their prefrontal cortex goes bye-bye and they just lash out. Mm-hmm. So yes, get outraged in that moment and go, this is really wrong.
Yeah.
That's the smoke detector going off saying there's a fire. Then turn the sound off and get to work on that fire. What can you do? Get busy. Don't get outraged. Because we don't need a bunch of people just sitting around being upset. Well, I'm not going to do anything about it, but I am going to be upset about it. Yeah. That's my moral duty. To heck with that.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is like when we talk about outrage and anger, there are things worthy of being outraged about, and there are things worthy of being angry about, and the fear. Fear is a healthy response to situations that are going on. But what we don't want to do is go and park up and set up camp and pitch our tent inside of outrage and fear. It's like we're taking a journey and we are going to see some stuff out the car window. We are going to get outraged, and we should get outraged.
Yeah.
And then we want to keep driving through that.
Yes.
So what can we do with that energy in a way that works for us? Yeah.
Get outraged and then get busy.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, don't stay in the outrage, and then don't get busy with the outrage.
Yes.
You know, it's if there are places to show up, you know, showing up at volunteering at some place, like, oh, I'm upset about homelessness. I'm going to go volunteer to shelter. I'm outraged about homelessness. Don't show up at the shelter outraged.
Yes.
Allow that to motivate you. For the smoke detector lets you know, and then you can take action.
Yeah.
But some people, it's just the smoke detector off and alarms going off, and they're like, oh yes, there's so much noise, and they get out pots and pans and they try to drown it out, and they're just making noise. They're not dealing with the fire.
Yeah.
Oh, we're totally outraged. It's like, no, do something about it. And once you take action, then you don't need the smoke detector going off. You don't need the alarm going off anymore. So you don't have to feel that outrage, because holding on to these emotions is detrimental to our well-being.
Yeah.
It's there to let us know there's something to take care of. Get busy taking care of it. So tapping is not about, oh, there's this awful situation going on. I feel so outraged. Okay, now I'm fine. Yeah, whatever. It's not about that at all. It's because, as I was saying in the tapping round, there is a part of this that wants to make a difference about that. Whether it's, whatever the issue is, that whether it's in our own lives of I don't have enough money, or something in social justice out in the outside world, there is a part of us that naturally wants to do all the good we can do, but fear stops us. And so we have this fear holding us back, and we keep hoping that enough outrage will push us past that.
Yeah.
If we drop the fear, we don't need the outrage to push us. We're just naturally going to do what we can do to make a positive difference. And we're going to make better choices about it. We're going to come up with much better solutions. You can see it out there. When people are trying to solve problems from outrage, it gets messy.
And you burn out. I'm just going to say, you just burn out. Like, I know that you probably have experienced it. I've experienced it. I look at so many amazing, incredible people that are activists for change in all arenas of the world. And what I see is that they're so driven, but they also know how to take care of themselves so that they can sustain a long-term gain. Because positive change in yourself or in the world is not like a one-hit wonder. It requires us to take care of ourselves so we can have sustained change and keep showing up over and over again. And if you get so outraged, you burn your system out.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You suffer, and everyone else suffers from the loss of your presence.
Self-care is so important. Yeah. You are the goose that lays the golden eggs. You got to take care of that goose. Make sure that goose is in really good shape.
And I think if there's people listening and they're saying, I can appreciate what it's like to sort of sit in the seat and have stress, I've got anger, I've got anxiety, I've got all these different things, and I've been carrying it for so long, and maybe you're at the beginning of your journey, and it's like, oh, they're just telling me to kind of just release it and be calm and make good decisions. It is a little bit of a journey, but the thing with tapping is you can tap out what's right there for you in the moment, and then in that state of calm, say, what's one positive action I could take right now that would be good for my life, good for my present situation, or would help somebody. And sometimes it's as simple as just that. Get up each morning, tap out whatever is there, say, what's one positive thing I could do for myself or for another human being today? And if you just did that for every day of your life, glory be, like, you would be having a dramatically different experience of your life if that was the only thing you did.
Yeah. And tapping, it's not a matter of, fear and anger are bad, and we're just going to tap it away and get rid of that bad emotion. As I think we said, it clears out the excess emotion, because so much of what we feel oftentimes is far more than what the situation warrants.
Yes.
Based on our beliefs. Just like the anger at Steve. Well, I'm not just angry at Steve. I'm angry at Sally, because what Steve did, or Bob, whoever pissed me off. It's not, my anger might be blown out of proportion to what happened, because it's dealing with other things. And as I allow myself to clear that, again, it's not a matter of, I'm just going to calm down and so Bob, go ahead and keep doing whatever you're doing. It's fine.
No.
It's not about that. It's about finding real solutions. and allowing myself to see, what can I really do here? Because me sitting at home getting angry isn't helping anybody. But what can I do? Where is there some place? And all of us have gifts and talents to share that make a difference in the world.
Yes.
So as you set yourself free, you will find those places, and you will think of things that you hadn't thought of before. You go, oh, I didn't even realize I could go down and volunteer here, or start a business here that not only would it bring in more income for my family, but I'd be sharing gifts and talents and making the world a better place at the same time. How awesome is that? Purpose and profit at the same time.
So awesome. And I think that's when you've actually, people that know tapping will nod along with you and just be like slow clapping you, because it's so true. You release emotions, and it's just outrageous how, like, the insights that come up, that you have creative ideas, like a more immediate connection to an intuition. You just become so much more acutely tapped into the more soulful aspect of yourself below all of that emotional noise. And I really love that you stand for, all emotions have messages. It's not about just kind of tap. I completely agree. You want to release that stuff to get connected at a deeper level, to find solutions, to mobilize. So powerful for all levels. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
And what I love about your body of work, and I send my clients to your YouTube channel all the time, because they're like, why don't you have any tapping videos? I was like, because Brad Yates exists on the planet, people. And he's got 200 tapping videos for every possible thing that you could imagine that you would want to tap on. Brad has got a guided.
There's a tap for that.
I love it. So please go. I'll put a link with this video to Brad's website and his YouTube channel, where all the videos are, that you can go and subscribe to that channel. And it's just such a powerful body and library of resources. If you're like tapping on anxiety and you're like, I never know what to say, don't worry about it. Just follow Brad.
I'm there for you.
He's been gifted to us to follow along, tap along. So tapwithbrad.com.
Yep. And
youtube.com, and it'll be /tapwithbrad. I would imagine.
Brad.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. I'm so happy to, and it's great hanging out with you again, Bernadette.
Awesome. So everyone, go and get into tapping. If you know it already, you'll be continuing to use it. If you're not familiar with it, practice is something really powerful, because it gets you familiar with it. And then when you're in the heat of a moment, I recommend, if you're new to tapping when you're not in the heat of a moment, because then you get a bit more comfortable and familiar with it. And then when you need it, it becomes a little bit easier to use. Yep. Indeed. Okay. Thanks, everyone.